So the Texans season has come to an end. Um, I mean, 4-12. I know some of you guys definitely expected it because I remember some of you guys were like, "Oh my God, the season's over. F everything." After the DeAndre Hopkins trade went down. Now look, let's speak on that. Since the season is over, we saw a full season without DeAndre in Houston. And look, the Texans definitely did not win the trade in terms of what they got back because the second round pick and David Johnson, that's downright god awful. But the Texans definitely won the trade in terms of what it did for the team. Deshaun Watson took a huge step forward. Deshaun Watson is undeniably a top 2 quarterback, top 3 quarterback in the NFL. Like, you can argue Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, but that's it. There is not a third quarterback better than Deshaun Watson in the NFL. It's definitely not Russell Wilson. Earlier in the year, I definitely thought Russell Wilson was someone that could be considered better than Deshaun Watson, but Deshaun Watson played better than Russell Wilson here this season. So, trading DeAndre Hopkins made Deshaun Watson a better quarterback. Now, if the Texans had DeAndre Hopkins, would have they been a better team? It's hard to say. Maybe they win 1 or 2 more games, but that's about it. Like, they'd still be in the same exact spot had they had DeAndre Hopkins, if that makes sense. And honestly, like, if they still had DeAndre, they probably wouldn't have gotten Brandon Cooks, and Brandon Cooks is like another Will Fuller. So maybe the Texans still finish 4-12. So who knows? Because we all know Will Fuller is what keeps this Texans offense going. But despite having a MVP caliber season, Deshaun Watson himself, the Texans season was a huge, huge disappointment. And the thing is, there was a lot of you guys after the 0-4 start, after O'Brien got fired, even after the Texans were 1-6. Y'all kept saying they still have a chance. The Texans can still make the playoffs. The season was lost the moment Bill O'Brien lost the locker room. And at what moment did he lose the locker room? The week leading up to Pittsburgh. That means the Texans really only played 2 games this year. The first 2 weeks of the season where they got beat by Baltimore and Kansas City. Everything that happened after that, like, it really, didn't matter. Like, the season was already over. Once your team, once the coach loses the locker room, it's game over, man. It is game over. Now, we can definitely sit here and talk about, what if Bill O'Brien didn't lose the locker room? Now, if Bill O'Brien didn't lose the locker room, the Texans would have been like 10-6, 11-5. They would have made the playoffs, like, without a doubt in my mind. Because look at all these close games that they played throughout the season. The Pittsburgh game. You're telling me if the players believed in Bill O'Brien, they would have lost that Pittsburgh game? No. The Minnesota game. They would have won that Minnesota game as well. They would have beat Tennessee in week 6. They would have beat Cleveland in, what was it, like week 9? They would have beat Indianapolis both times. That's 6 more wins. They would have beat Cincinnati. They would have beat the Titans again in week 17. That puts them at 11 wins. Like, legit. All these close games that the Texans played, yes, they were lost because of a terrible defense, but the players really weren't playing for anything. Like, it's hard to go out there and give it your all when you don't have a leader, when you don't have anything to play for. So, what I'm trying to say is, like, the Texans really aren't so far away from being contenders. Like, they're just a good coaching hire and GM hire away from being a good team again, back in the playoffs. So, like, it's really not the end of the world. I mean, they went, they lost 8 one-score games. They went, like, 3-8 in one-score games, or 2-8, something like that. They went like a terrible record in one-score games, man. So next year, that'll be different. That'll be different with better coaching, a slightly better defense, a better Deshaun Watson, a better John Weeks. So, I mean, but enough about next year. We're still talking about this year. Deshaun Watson, like I said, I mean, the dude was amazing. He made the season somewhat enjoyable. Like, one thing you could count on all year long was, well, besides, Whitney Merciless and Brendan Scarlett being unable to set the edge, besides all that, was Deshaun Watson showing up every single week and putting the Texans in position to succeed while watching someone else, fumble the game away or the defense completely blow the game. The defense made us, punch walls and throw TVs and, burn things and throw Christmas trees through your neighbor's window and stuff like that. But, I mean, Deshaun Watson, I guess you could say he made the season somewhat fun. Like, look back, I guess the past, 10 years maybe. Yeah, let's go past 10 years. The Texans have had 3 terrible years. They had the terrible 2013 season. They had the 2017 season when Watson went down with the torn ACL, and this season. This season was by far way more enjoyable than the other 2 terrible seasons. And some people are saying this is the worst Texans season in recent history. I disagree. You'd rather be watching Tom freaking Savage? Tom Savage, snapping the ball and literally stepping back in the pocket and standing there and, taking a sack or dumping the ball off or, just being god awful. Or let me guess, he'd rather watch Matt Schaub, which, by the way, Matt Schaub retired, yesterday when you're watching this video. So, Matt Schaub retired yesterday, great career for Matt Schaub, made over $90 million, good for him, had some good moments here in Houston. But you'd rather be watching Matt Schaub throw pick sixes 5 games in a row back in 2013? No, bro. Deshaun Watson made this season somewhat enjoyable, but the defense, the defense, god awful. The receivers, Brandon Cooks, William Fuller, Randall Cobb, and even Kiki QT, despite the fumbles there at the end of the season, the receivers did great. Chad Hansen, good guy. He could turn into something as well. The tight ends, Akins, disgusting. Fells disappeared. Pharaoh Brown carries and bullies people. Kahale needed more chances. Offensive line, Mike Devlin's a fatty who doesn't know how to coach. Tunsil, bald man, really good. Tytus Howard, loves spaghetti, also really good. Nick Martin, learn how to snap a football, buddy. Zach Fulton, you're not very good. Max Sharping, Tubby Devlin didn't give him a chance. I don't know why in the world Sharping wasn't out there all year, and that's just stunting his growth. Offensive line as a whole, it just wasn't good, man. And I blame that 100% on coaching, man. And when the offensive line can't pick up simple stunts, that's straight up coaching. It's one thing for Zach Fulton to get beat by dudes like DeForest Buckner one-on-one, because obviously DeForest Buckner's a freaking god. But, coaching matters. Offensive line coaching. Why in the world was Nick Martin not helping Zach Fulton out with, DeForest Buckner or, dudes like that? It should have been the case. Or why in the world is the running back not there helping Zach Fulton? And stuff like that, Leaving Zach Fulton one-on-one with DeForest Buckner and dudes like that is a recipe for disaster. I can't even blame Zach Fulton for that. Imagine putting me up against Aaron Donald, dude. It's not freaking fair, I'm going to get destroyed. So what do? You have someone else help. It's really that simple. And then, the simple stunts as well, never learn how to pick that up. Defensively, you guys already know, the whole defense was god-awful. Whitney Merciless, Brendan Scarlett, terrible. The safety play was god awful. The corners, besides Bradley Roby, were god awful. Gary Conley didn't even play this season. J.J. Watt only got like 5 sacks. I mean, he did do some things. Like got the pick six and stuff against Detroit. I mean, he did some good things, but he wasn't his dominant usual self, and you could definitely blame that on him literally having no one else on that defensive line capable of doing anything. But here's the thing, you gotta blame coaching with that, because why in the world was Jacob Martin not playing over the terrible Whitney Merciless? Why in the world was Jonathan Grenard not playing over the terrible Brendan Scarlett? Why in the world was Ross Blacklock not playing? Like, like these questions come up. Why in the world was John Reed not playing over the god awful Philip Gaines? Why in the world was Keon Croissant not playing over the god awful Vernon Hargraves? So as a whole, like, if there's things that us fans can, point at and be like, that's wrong, and these coaches aren't changing it, like, those coaches do not deserve to be in, the NFL. They don't deserve to be coaching. I mean, the only coaching bright spots, I guess, this year, wide receivers coach. He did a good job. The receivers that were coached up well, quarterbacks coach, I guess, Deshaun Watson, amazing. And even Tim Kelly, to some extent, man, he did a good job. But I can't, give him like full credit, I guess, because the run game was downright god awful. Which brings up David Johnson, terrible. Like, yeah, the last 2 weeks of the season he was better, but I mean, it was a little too late there, buddy, a little too late. But yeah, I mean, just I guess a disappointing season. Glad it's over. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. In December, I was like contemplating retiring from this whole, Texans YouTube thing. Like, I guess I was feeling kind of burnt out. Like, I didn't really feel it making the videos anymore. But now that the season's over, like, I have this sudden burst of inspiration to make videos again. I guess it was just like all the terrible coaching, like the god awful season that was, going on, that made me like feel like not uploading, not recording, and now I'm back, I guess. So yeah, I guess that's good. But yeah, comment down below your opinions on the god awful 2020 season, the god awful 2020 year, and yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.